Hi, so it's Buggy and Sage asked me to do a little tutorial on how I did the edges of this rotator cuff. Well, not rotating. So how I did the edges on this cuff. So I'm gonna try and do that, and I am very nervous. So I've got my base X cuff. This is just a 1. The other one was like a 1.5 because I was just doing it by vibes. So this is a base, and I'll start the edges from here. These are... I forgot to say during the video, but the materials I used are, of course, pony beads, scissors, a plastic wool needle, because it does get quite fiddly, little cute beads, and some cotton-coated elastic. Smaller holes. So first we need to attach it. So I'm going to start on this side of one of the pink beads. I'm using the needle just because you probably could do this without, but it is fiddly, so this makes the process much easier if you do have one of these little wool needles. I tried the metal ones and I just broke. I got like 5 and I broke all of them. They just did not have the strength in them to pull through. So these are just little wool needles. So what I'm first doing to attach this, if you had done the cuff in one go, you could just continue on, because we're going to be stitching, and first we're going to be placing just plain white beads in between each of these. Not be forgetting how to make a knot. But I'm going to tie it around where there's 2 here to kind of clamp them together. Pull that tight. And then I'm going to go around where there's a single one, so it should prevent this not getting pulled into the other bead. And like, it's one of those problems which you can just move around the beads and sort it out, but it will just help keep its shape a bit more even, give you less need to rejiggle things. So putting that through, all that tight, and I'm going to do one more with this tail just for luck. I have no idea how long this is going to be. Might just show one side just for the sake of not making the video too long, because I'm going to do it in real time. Okay, done my 3 knots. I'm happy with that at least. I'm going to trim this. So now I have the string coming out of this side of the bead, but actually we want to put it into this side for starting working. Okay, this is a good way to hold it so it stays in frame. So we pull that into the pink bead, so now the string's coming out where it looks more natural as part of the piece. So, for adding the first row of beads to build your thinner edge, like the example, we pull through the 2, and we literally just get 1 white bead in this design I've got going. I've heard that these needles are really cheap, that you can get a bunch of them off Amazon. Let's pull through the next one, do this one. But yeah, I heard that you can get a bunch of these off Amazon. I actually have this one from a set I had as a kid. It was like a set to make, I think it was like a stuffed zebra toy or something like that. I never actually made the stuffed zebra, I actually made it into some weird long-armed sock monster. So we're doing that. I have 12 sections on this cuff, so that's 36 beads total all the way around. The previous cuff was 33 round, but that did give me the issue of when adding the top decorations that it's not actually evenly spaced. I've had to like put 2 black beads and then the decoration ones, which gave me a headache. I don't like working in odd numbers, so I made this one even for the sake of my sanity. So these little white beads are just going to be where we basically attach all of the edges to. And yeah, put the bead on, pull it through the next 2. So it's kind of like a multi-stitch, I think, where you're just filling in the holes. Just finish all the way round. I've got 4 more to go. I think this cuff's going to end up a little big for me, but as I said, for my sanity, I wanted to do the design in an even number of 3s and doing it in a I say even number of 3s. Like if I did it 30 round, that would have been 10 points to do rather than 12, but that would have been too small for me. So with the 33 beads round on this outer edge, fits me alright, but even that one has to go up my arm slightly to have a good tightness to allow the rotator section to rotate nicely. Okay, so we are on this end one. So this is the final one for the round. So you pull through these 2, pull it nice and tight, and give it a proper tug, make sure everything's kind of sticking up and looking right. And we are now going to go through this first one, if my hand stops shaking. So now it will be the first row of decorations. So each of these actually will be in sets of 3. So I have 1 white bead, and I just remembered that these ones don't fit on the needle. Oh no. We're going to go manual. Hey, it's off now. Okay, get that tension back. So, as I'm going clockwise, I don't want to have to do the thing backwards, so the next row, which is where the letter beads sit, and I've got these colourful, oh no, I've got these colourful glowy ponies, it's going to be this one, and then we're going to do this top layer later. So you get 1 bead, I'm going to do this kitty row, and the decorative bead, yeah, you know what, I'll use that, and you've got your 3 like that. It will make it a little bulky, but when we get the next row on, that's gonna push it into place. So we just go through the next one of the beads we've put on, basically. The beads we put on the last row. And this is such a tangle. Roll that until it's in shape. You can see it kind of makes this bulkier section, but that will move itself into place when we add the second one. So hold that there. Where did my end go? There's my end. Okay, next one. One white bead. Next decorative bead. Let that go down. And pull that through. I said you can do this without the needle. Another one like that. Yeah, I can't actually see how long I've been recording for because my phone screen is really screwed up. So I've got like the bottom edge where the timer goes is half cut off, so I can barely see it. So we do our next three, we hold this here to keep the tension. Pull it out straight, pull it in frame, please. Pull it through there. Pull that round. If it gets twisted, just twist it and pull it nice and tight. We're going to want these nice and tight so that when the second row's in, it does snap into place almost. That's going to be the first of my letter beads. And through there, grab that at the end, pull that through, try and get the kinks out in the way. Nice pull tight. There we go. Oh. Don't really have much explanation for how this came about because the entire first cuff was, I literally had just learned X cuffs. That base was my third one ever, I think. Yeah, third one. And I was just seeing what I could make of it, and I came up with this. If it is an actual thing, I'd love to know, because I don't have a name for this, so if I came up with something that's already been made, then that's cool. That's what happens in science. But I like to think of this as a thinner alternative to most edges for the rotator cuffs, because I find most require either a 2 base or a 3 base for the thinner options, because they then build up this to be a 3D cross, and I don't like things too bulky on my wrist. So T down. 1. T number 2. I'm looking over the top of my glasses, that's not useful. And go on here. Got kit. Here's my end. Sorry that I'm half out frame. My stand, in little quote brackets, is an empty set of plastic drawers, 5 books, and a box of hagelslag, which are basically Dutch chocolate sprinkles. And I butchered that pronunciation. So here I've made my thread a bit furry. I'm struggling to get it on, so I'm just going to trim that off. That's one problem. I prefer these round letter beads than the square ones. But the only problem is they do have this thinner hole to deal with. And so if you have anything above 5mm, it's going to start like trying to fray it. But it is completely workable, I find. Got R3 into the next one. But my hands stopped shaking yet. Nope, my hands are still shaking. Got the white, now we're just going on to the 4 of this row. I probably will just show one row of this, because otherwise this will take forever. One white, one decoration, just quickly making sure I've got the hearts in the same direction, because that bothers me. I get very particular about these things. Well, no, it doesn't matter. It's completely fine, but personally, I plan a lot of my pieces quite extensively. I say that when I say I just vibed this one, but even then, that amount of times it took to plan out exactly where I wanted these big chunky stars to go. Yeah, that took a long time. You see, we're starting to get like this frilly edge almost. Just 3 more. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3 more sections to fill for this row. Sorry that my filming area is so small. 1, my desk is tiny. 2, I also needed the phone to be low enough that I could actually see what was happening. Also, 3rd, I don't have a stand, so hence why I have this contraption that is off camera. Oh, come back here. I planned to have enough so I could drop the white and pink beads a couple times, because I do drop beads a lot. But I did not plan to drop any of these decorative ones. You can see I'm giving it a good tug, make sure there is a nice tension throughout all of this. And this is the final one of this row. So white, decorative, and another white. I mainly picked this design so it was easy to follow and adapt. So this is a bead that we went through. This is actually where we're going to go through it again. And this is why I like the needle. Okay, so we're on the final one. Pull that nice and tight, and I'll have to pull it again. Because we're going through this bead, the one that we went through first, I am going to use the needle again. Not tie it on this time, can't be bothered. So pull that nice and tight, and we are going to go through here, and we're going to try to get it like that. So we're going to the back side of this row that we have just done. And we pull that through, untwist it, pull it tight. You see we've got like almost this frilly cuff. So that is the first kind of decorative row. The next one, we are going to be adding just a bunch of plain beads. So where my finger is here, I'm going to be adding just 2s, sets of 2s, all in white. I really hope I did pick out enough. I should have got enough. So we get 2 beads, put it down on the needle, and we're going to work behind this row that we just made, but we are going to go through the same ones like that. So we kind of get this weird 5 section here. I'm going to pull that tight so these clamp together nicely. I do realise that I probably could do this one after that row and then do the decoration on top, but 1, that's not the way I did it. 2, I feel like that might make it a bit too tight to get these through, and especially as I can't use the needle for the decoration beads, I think that would be a pain, personally. So this is just making, basically continuing the multi-stitch we were doing before, and extending it out, or down, depending, I guess. Number 2. Through the back side, just because there'll be a pain if we do go through the other side. It will end up twisting the elastic inside the beads. Nice and tight. We can see that it's going from this frilly edge to like this more blocky, just fixed piece, almost. And that's what we want. We want it to be stable. Number 2. Oh, there we go. So just throw that around the back. Just realised I have no idea how my voice sounds as close to the phone. I did camera shot tests, there's no voice test, so I apologise if it is awful. Keep that tight. I'm only making it all look awkward. Promise it's not that hard. So nice and tight, and it pulls everything together. And tight. 1, 2, to this bead here. I have to say, using a needle does make picking them up a lot easier. Just ends up like stabbing peas with a fork, except it works better. And that was a terrible analogy, gosh. And so we're starting to get all the way around. We've got 4 more spaces left, I think. One, 2. If I was to study a piece, you could probably use like 1 mil cord. I know people who use, I know of people that use like 1.2 cords or 1.5, but as I like to use these slightly more dainty beads, I have to use a spinner variance. Very tight. Oh, okay. Until I pushed it too far because I couldn't move the star section. It does kind of, oh, last one. It does kind of, when you pull it tight, it does kind of curl it in. But you can just kind of moisten it a bit. Two beads. So once again, we want this centerpiece, not the one on the side. We want this one. And come here. Terrible lighting. There we go. It's going through just that bead. Just moved on the wrong side. So now that is our second row. You can see that it's made this text row stick up, basically. It's pushed it into where it should be. So this will be the final row for this one side of the cuff, and I'm going to use these beads. And this is going to be just like the first row we did, which was just with single beads between. So we actually need to go through the first pair of beads that we did on this row. And now we can start. So I'm actually going to start with the white one, just because vibes, I don't know. This will just finish the edge along with big chunky flowers like I have with the stars here. They're gonna like stick up a bit. You are luckily big enough to go through the needle, so it makes my life a bit easier, I think. Do they go through? They don't. Oh no. It's fine. These are just... This bit isn't as fiddly as the last one, fortunately. So we need to go through these two beads here. Don't be poking, you can normally get it through quite easily. Oh, holding onto that helps. There we go. And that will get our chunker in place. You will be able to stand it up once you're done, but for now we can keep it like that. And slight imperfection in the middle. Damn it. Next white one. And we'll do the same. As we just discovered, you can hold on to that last decorative row. And that should help you push it through this pair. There we go. I'll go through. It's off camera. Wow. Get that tight. Okay. Next flower. So that's pulled tight. I'm holding my thumb there to keep the tension. Holding on to this set of three here. that opens up these 2 beads that we need. With a little bit of wiggling, or a medium bit of wiggling maybe. There we go. And pull that through. You can let go of that tension now. Next one. Next white one. Of course, you can do these patterns however you like. Like, you could do all pony beads, you could do all fancy ones. Yeah. I mainly, of course, my first one was black and rainbow, but I mainly picked white because I didn't want to use more of a black, and I knew I had a bunch of this pink. And you'll see in a bit why exactly I picked Hello Kitty. That's for words. And that one, see it's through here. Next one. But these take a lot of beads. And I know this is small on this edge. This is small in comparison to a lot of this might have no, don't worry. This is small in comparison to a lot of bigger pieces. But even then, when you have a limited supply, I'm sorry I don't have any counts for how many beads this takes. Just make sure you have plenty. And I actually have a photo where I laid out rows upon rows of beads to see how many I had beforehand. That is good if you have a patience, and it saves you the disappointment of if you are short. I actually had a slightly different design for this piece where I had more pink used, and I found out that I would run out. I'd be like 4 beads short or something. So I adjusted the design slightly, and now I have just enough. I had 3 spare. See, we're making progress. I don't know whether I need to explain the threading process each time. So we've got that, got tension, I'm holding on to there. Next one is a flower bead. Because it's got a nice big hole, I can just kind of... No, I can't. There we go. Pop that through. Behave, there we go. No, there's that. You can see that these pieces stick up, but I'll show you once I tie off how I like to have the final row, how I move the beads and such. Once again, keep tension on this piece, hold on to those. Wiggle that through till you get enough to grab hold of. And of course it gets caught on the rest of the bracelet. I only started doing Kandi like November last year, so what's the 4th month? That's 11. 5 months ago, technically. I mainly prefer to do singles and little pieces. Like, I prefer like kind of singles and that sort of thing. Don't know whether that is partially fear of failure when you do a bigger piece, or whether that is confidence. But I mainly like the smaller ones. I think it's mainly because I can make more for less beads. So, as you can see, we have 1 and 2 pieces left, or 2 bits left to fill. That'll be the end of my yapping and my terrible ability to keep this in shot. Put it through, poke it a bit more, grab hold of it, pull it through, bam. And this is the last one. As I said, I made this an even number set. So this has 12 points on it. Because I wanted to be able to do the simple 1 blank, 1 blank. Okay, so we've got to go through these two. We don't need to go through here because this is the end. We can actually tie off here. But first we need to get the bead on. Just right. Of course, because this extra bead is there. Ah, it was hiding it from me. Little scoundrel. There we go. There we go. That is the edge of the cuff. I am going to re-thread the needle to tie off, just because it makes it easier. Okay, so here is it finished. I realised that I forgot what I was using the pink beads for, so it was different to my actual plan, but I think it still looks cute. Yeah, that's how I did the thin edge. This is a 3 long ladder stitch. It probably could fit a 4, to be honest, but yeah. And the reason why I wanted to do Hello Kitty is I wanted an excuse to use a charm, so there we go.